Hi, welcome to This Expat Life. My name is Amanda Maxime, and as a certified coach, I help high-achieving expats find more fulfillment and happiness in their global lives. Because while life abroad is often amazing, it is not only rainbows and butterflies, as all experienced expats know. In This Expat Life, I open up space for all facets of life abroad and what you can do to thrive in it. And to support you in your personal, professional, and geographic life transitions, I share tips, tell relatable stories, and connect with fellow expats. Whether you've just moved abroad or you are a seasoned expat, This Expat Life is your place to find real understanding and to grow from the inside out. Enjoy the show. Grab your journal or a piece of paper and pen because we are spicing things up for This Expat Life today. And welcome back, by the way. Whenever I review the numbers for this podcast, which I do every single week, I notice a few trends. Or not trends, but like things that are more popular than others. And one of those things, the episodes that are pretty popular with you, are the episodes at the end of the year in December where I give you reflection questions. Part 1 is always about looking back, about the year that has been and everything that you can safely let go of to create space to welcome in the new things. And then part 2 is about the new year that is coming. And I give you questions so that you can be really intentional about where you're going and what you want to change in order to live a life that feels truly like yours, no matter where you are. And I realized that summer for me, as I already shared 2 episodes ago, is this season that also gives that kind of New Year space. Not as intense, I would say, as December, but still, a lot of us still carry that back to school vibe in September when we come back from our summer holidays. And I am talking about the Northern Hemisphere, by the way. So in summer here, the days are long, there's more light, people have more energy. I notice that myself too. So there's already like a different kind of mood, which helps us to dream a little bit bigger and to feel confident about where we want to go. But it's also because we often have longer holidays. Work is less busy. There are fewer deadlines. There are fewer things demanding things from us. If you have kids, you might be busy because your kids are at home. But there are fewer things to do with the school and things to take care of and things that come back every week. Well, you know what I'm talking about. And so a lot of expats in summer, which I shared in the previous episode as well, they start to think about what they want for their life because suddenly they have that space to finally go a level deeper or to zoom out and to see more clearly what they don't want anymore and what they would like instead. So I also shared that I did my own mid-year review at the beginning of July, which I was very happy about because the first half of the year was such a whirlwind and so much has happened, amazing things. But it was also like I was on a fast, high-speed train and I was going like 200 kilometers an hour, what it felt like. And so I kind of lost touch a little bit with some of my goals, or I was a bit less intentional with my time and energy as I wanted to be. So this mid-year review was a perfect moment for me to just take stock. Where am I? What's going on? Where have I lost touch with what I wanted to welcome in for this year? Where am I acing it? Where am I on track? And what do I want to change? And I thought, since the December reflection questions are so popular with you, let me do that again, but this time for a summer edition. And it's going to be a shorter one. I have 12 questions for you in total. December, I have 2 times 12 questions. And what is important here is that I'm just going to go through the questions with a few examples and clarifications, but I want you to take your time for these questions. So when you have your journal, pause me here if you need to, get your journal, get your pen, your favorite pen. I like to work with different colors, and find yourself a space where you can go a level deeper with yourself and not to write just to give answer to these questions or when you're in a rush, but when you have that space to quiet down a little bit and you can hear yourself more clearly. And through this episode, I'm going to be asking you the questions, but please pause me to make sure you have enough time, all the time that you need to answer this question properly. So let's just get started. I'm going to be assuming that you have some goals for this year. some goals or things or resolutions or whatever else that you set out in December last year for 2026. The first question is going to be about that. You may know that I always like to work with 3 goals because that to me is the ideal number. Maybe you have 1, maybe you have 10, it doesn't matter. But the question here is, reviewing your goals, are you on track? And I want you to answer with a simple yes or no, because it's very tempting to give the nuance that you have been carrying throughout this first 6-7 months of the year. Because you are a nuanced person too. You don't see things black and white, and you always have a lot of understanding for how things are, and you see the details and the different colors and shades and everything. But I think a simple yes or no will actually force you to be really honest with yourself. My mentor asked me the same question, and it was in a group setting online, and I was writing like, well, with my health goals, it's this and it's that and la la. It's a mixed answer, but he really forced us to say yes or no. And this is when I had a clear, okay, these are my goals, and this is a yes and a no. And it forced me to really be honest with myself and to see, okay, I'm not bad, but I'm not where I want to be. So some things need to change. So review your goals for this year and ask yourself, am I on track? Yes or no? That's where it starts first. Now, if you want to write a little bit more about the nuance of if you're on track or not with these goals, go ahead, but start with the yes or no. And check in with yourself how that makes you feel. Are you happy with that or not? Are you feeling like, oh yeah, this always happens to me. Like I say I want these things, but then I don't make this work and I'm a bit ashamed and like, what's wrong with me? If it makes you feel that way, it's very common. You need to start changing your inner dialogue, but check in with yourself. How does this make me feel as I see my answers? So to summarize, reviewing your goals, are you on track? Yes or no? That's question number 1. Pause me here if you need to. Question number 2, what was one thing that surprised you in the first half of the year? Whether that was an event, a longer kind of development, something that you received, something that happened, something that you did. What was something that surprised you? Something that you didn't expect? Now, I definitely have 2 things here. The first one is when I wrote down my vision for 2026 and I did my whole annual retreat, solo retreat that I have for myself, which you can do too, by the way, because doors to the space are still open for the rest of July. They're closing on July 31st. When I was doing that, I was, writing about 2026 and the things I wanted to tweak. I did not expect that my now boyfriend will be walking into my life 2 weeks later. I met him in the second week of January. And so that was something that really took me by surprise. And one, obviously, that I'm very, very happy with. And another thing that I really didn't expect, because, I was dating and trying to find someone and build a relationship, so it wasn't coming out of the blue. But the one thing I really did not expect for this year, I thought it would happen in 5 or 10 years, is that I'm writing a book. And this also came on my path. There was an invitation, and I'm a projector in human design. I respond well to invitations, and I realized, yes, this is what I want to do. And it's going to cost me time and energy, but I want to do it. And now I'm writing my book. I have the structure. I wrote the first chapter already, half of it while I was sick. That wasn't really advisable. But I felt so good because I thought, finally, I have something concrete in hands. This was always like a super, super vague dream for one day. Just like I want to do a PhD on the history of the Latin American banana industry or the Dutch history in Brazil one day. And writing the book was the same thing until, this opportunity came my way and I decided to say yes to it and invest in it. And I really did not see that coming. So it really surprised me. And these are 2 surprises I'm very happy with. So what was one thing, or multiple, if multiple things come to mind, that surprised you in this first half of the year? And maybe ask yourself too, why did it surprise me? Okay, pause me here if you need some time for this question. I'm going to continue to question number 3. Where did you feel most like yourself this year? And where didn't you? So if you, like, what is one situation or recurring thing that automatically comes to mind where you feel like, oh, I was most myself here this year? And where weren't you? And I mean that geographically, but also in settings or in habits. So if I have to answer this question, where did I feel most like myself this year? That was in Santa Barbara in April, where I just felt so relaxed, but so powerful, so confident, so incredibly clear, and so connected to something bigger than me, like a source that was providing me with everything I needed. And I was enjoying everything and feeling so damn good. And I took a photo in Santa Barbara because I was driving around in my car on my own one morning. And I had this whole experience in my body, and I took a photo from the car with the palm trees and just to memorize this. So where did I feel most like myself this year? That was in Santa Barbara. Now, what is that for you? Obviously, for me, it was a geographical setting, but it was also what was going on for me in my life at that time that made me feel that way, culminating everything in Santa Barbara. And where didn't you feel like yourself? I definitely had some moments in February, March, definitely March when I came back. Also last week when I was ill, where I really didn't feel like myself. Like I wasn't feeling great physically, mentally so. There's been a lot going on for me, including saying goodbye to my cats, and that also had an effect on me. I'm not going to deny that. So ask yourself, where didn't you feel like yourself this year? Okay, I'm going to continue to question number 4, but pause me if you need to. What pattern from last year showed up again, and did you handle it differently this time? And if so, how? I'm going to repeat it one more time. What pattern from last year showed up again, and did you handle it differently this time? And if so, how did you do that? I asked myself this question as well, and I clearly saw something that, was trying to sneak back into my life, but I really handled it differently this time with results. Like I'm clearly seeing the effects of it. So what pattern did you carry last year, perhaps the years before as well, that tried to make their way back? And did you handle it differently this time? It could be in your relationships, in your health, in your workouts, at work, with work-life balance and stress, with your days, perfectionism. There can be so many things. So ask yourself this question. And also, if you didn't handle it differently this time, now, of course, what can you do going forward to handle it differently? Question number 5. A simple one, though not easy. What did I say yes to that I should have said no to? What did I say yes to that I should have said no to? I'm asking it in 2 different ways, I'm realizing now. Ask yourself that question, write down whatever comes up for you, and also see, is this something that I want to continue doing for the rest of the year? Question number 6, again, pause me if you need to, which I'm going to be assuming, because none of us can write that fast. And I want you to take your time for these questions. Question number 6, where was the biggest leak of your energy and why? Where was the biggest leak of your energy and why? I'm going to be using energy as like a broad term. So it can be physical energy where you just felt drained, perhaps physically, because you did certain things. It can be emotional energy. It can be like emotional energy that you spent on certain relationships or patterns. It can be mental energy, things that you're just mulling over, that there's a big leak going on there. Or perhaps even spiritual energy, where you're not feeling in touch anymore with something bigger than you and your soul purpose. And why was that your biggest leak? Like, what happened for you that it turned into your biggest leak? So I also, of course, asked myself this question, and I realized one of my leaks for my energy is that I tend to stay in busyness, like busy work that is not always the needle moving work that I need to do, whether it's for my business or my life, like finishing up this chapter. And that feels productive, but it isn't. And over time, it drains me. And so I clearly saw that leak, and I have been fixing the leak for a while now. Okay, answer that question. Where was the biggest leak of your energy and why? Question number 7. I'm moving on. Pause me if you need to. I like this one a lot, and it might be a hard one for a lot of you. There is a reason why I give a variation of this question as homework to some of my clients, usually the most high achieving ones, because they're very good at seeing what they still need to do and where they're falling short, but they're not so good at seeing where they are doing fantastic because of who they are. So, question number 7 is, what are you most proud of the first half of the year? And I want you to list 3 wins if you can. And if you can, and this is the hardest part, make it about you, really about why you are such an amazing person that you have achieved this thing. Maybe this is not something, I hope it's not something about you're doing, something like ran a marathon or you got a promotion. I mean, don't get me wrong, please be very, very proud of that and list them as one of your wins. But I also want you to see, okay, I was triggered in a relationship and I started showing up differently and I gave myself a lot of compassion and I changed my communication. That is a huge win. Maybe you have closed a chapter and started somewhere new and this isn't your end station. It's like an in-between chapter. So your mind naturally goes to the next thing. But I want you to see like, hey, this is huge because I just changed everything about my life and I need a moment to celebrate myself. That's another big win. Maybe what you are most proud of is the fact that you went to the gym consistently 4 times a week, even though you were traveling nonstop all the time. That is a fantastic win too. Or maybe you're proud of yourself because you're such a good friend to the people around you. You have empathy, kindness, and sharp questions, and you want to celebrate yourself for that. So what are you most proud of? What are the 3 things you're most proud of in this first half of the year? Pause me here, really pause me here, because I want you to take your time for this one. And by the way, you're very welcome to write as many wins as you want. Question number 8. Now we are moving. So we have looked back on the first half of the year. By looking back, we acknowledge things that are there. And that means we also, once we acknowledge things, we can be more conscious of it and we can let it go. When we let things go, we create space to welcome the new in. You can't keep adding things to your life with things you want to change, things you want to achieve and have and do and be, if you don't consciously let go of some of the things that create noise in your life or that stop serving you, because the bucket at some point is going to be full. So you need to create space. So the first 7 questions are a certain way to create some space. If you want to create actual space, I highly recommend you to do my solo retreat, The Space. It is called that for a reason, because this is really where I give you some tools and some approaches to really let go of everything that you've been carrying with you. And then when you let go, you have that clean space, this clear, welcoming space to welcome in the things that you actually want. So we're now going to look forward to the rest of the year. Question number 8. If nothing changes for the next 6 months and everything continues as it is now, it builds onto what is already there and it continues in the same pace, what will go on for you in December and how would you feel about that? So I'm going to repeat it, but in a different way. Assume that everything that's going on in your life right now is going to continue. So it's going to compound in that same way. So if nothing changes for the next, well, not 6 months, if nothing changes for the next 4 or 5 months, what would be going on for you in December and how would you feel about that? So obviously I asked myself the same question, and while I was very happy with some progress that I made, I also realized, well, if it continues at this pace, in this way, in these places, with these people and these things, blah, 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 with these habits, I'm not going to be where I want to be for this year. So some things need to change. And I felt good about it. Like I was like, okay, I'm doing well, but I need to make a few course corrections. So if nothing changes for you for the next couple of months, what would go on for you in December and how would you feel about that? And I want you to write as if it's December 31st already. And you're realizing, okay, if I continue this way with this relationship that I don't feel really clear about, but this person is also a part of the reason why I'm in this country. I do like my job, but it's taking a lot of my time. I'm consistent with my workouts and seeing my friends, but I'm also wondering, like, am I ever going to tap into my full potential because I have a secret dream? If everything like that continues, then how is December going to look for you? Like, what is going on there? Most of it's probably going to be the same, but write that down and then check in with yourself. How do I feel about that? Is that okay for me? If so, please continue. If not, okay, you've got some course corrections to do as well. Please pause me here. Take your time for that one. Question number 9. What is one thing that you've been postponing that actually matters? What is one thing that you've been postponing that actually matters? And please answer this one with your gut feeling, because your gut already knows what you've been postponing that you know you need to do. Maybe it's a thing that you finally need to pull the trigger on that relationship or that job that has been draining you. Maybe I had been postponing making the decision to move out of The Hague because I wasn't seeing where I could go instead. And so I was just kind of avoiding and postponing that. And my gut already knew. And once I did, everything changed for me. So what's the one thing that you've been postponing this year so far that actually matters? Something that you already know, this is the thing I've been postponing. And obviously, what can you do about it to stop postponing it for the rest of the year? Pause me here. Question number 10. What do you want to be able to say that you did by the time that you look back in December? So what is maybe like a bold move or like a promise to yourself, like a commitment to yourself or a commitment to others that you want to say, that you want to be able to say that you did by the end of the year? It could be running the marathon. Well, it might be short to start training for that. Maybe it's starting a relationship or ending that relationship. Maybe it's finally learning how to speak up in meetings because you're afraid to be visible so far. Maybe it's that you finally made a decision to move to a new country or to leave the current place. It can be a number of multiple things. But what is the one thing that you want to be able to say that you did at the end of the year? Question number 11. Now, the one thing that you said you want to be able to say by the end of December, what can get in the way of that? And what can get in the way of your goals that you set out for 2026? So what can get in the way of that and your goals? And what can you do about it? I ask myself this question every single Monday in my weekly check-in, where I identify my 3 needle-moving activities and how I kind of want to show up for myself that week. And I always ask myself now, okay, what can get in the way of that? And how can I prevent that from happening? Or what can I do about it if it does happen? So for me, it's very often about like overwhelm, busyness, distraction, travel is usually one of these things. And if I look at the bigger picture, my bigger goals, I also can identify a few things that can get in the way of that. And it helps really to have like a clear plan to avoid that from happening. When I said yes to writing my book, I knew, okay, Amanda, you are someone who is very future oriented. You live in a high pace. There's a lot of travel going on, and you're also moving to another country. So what can get in the way of me writing a book? Busyness and overwhelm. And it's hard for me sometimes to find that headspace and to sit down when my life is happening at such a high speed and I'm here, there, everywhere. So when I said yes to the book, I also got very clear with myself, okay, how can I get in my own way And what can I do to change that? So when I realized, okay, these are my patterns and it can show up in me writing a book as well and prevent me from my desired outcome, I also knew, okay, here are 3 ways that I can change that. Let me work on the identity level to really show up as someone who is writing a book, because that will help me in making space for it. Now, I can also change something about my daily habits. Like I deleted Instagram, for example, this week for a couple of weeks because I needed that quiet space in my brain for me to like start writing on a deeper level. And also in my planning, I made some changes to really make space, like a sacred appointment with myself to start writing. So I could already see beforehand, okay, that's the goal, but these are my traps now, and this is what I can do to prevent them from happening. So let me ask you that question one more time. What can get in the way of the thing that you want to have achieved by December or your goals? What can get in the way of that, and what can you do about that? And really take your time to answer this one, because this is your plan basically for the rest of the year. Then question number 12, officially the last one, but I added a bonus question. Question number 12, what word or mantra can I use for the rest of the year? Like it's something to fall back on. When I was moving, I knew it's gonna hurt me to say goodbye to so many things that I do enjoy here, and my beautiful, beautiful babies, my cats from Brazil. And I'm still crying over them because I miss them so much. But I had a little mantra ready for myself, and that was, this is the trade-off. You've heard me say that in an episode a little while back, like the 3 things I say to myself in this, big change that is going on. So every time that I was faced with emotional pain, I of course made space for my emotions, because we're not bypassing that here. But I really told myself, well, that's the trade-off of my choice, and I still want to go ahead with my choice. And realizing that that was the price I needed to pay, that I had already calculated in, helped me to feel okay about it as well. So what word or mantra can you use for the rest of the year? Something that you can fall back on when life is lifing. And maybe you want to connect that to the previous question about what can get in the way of your things, because that's probably your biggest trap. And this is probably also where you could have that word or mantra to get you out of it. Okay. And as I said, I added one more question, a bonus question, because I don't want you to do this alone. I want you to speak about these things with your friends, your family, your partner, with a colleague, with your coach, with me, because we self-reliant expats are so used, or internationals, we are so used to doing everything on our own and figuring it out alone and just doing it alone. But it helps greatly if you have some accountability, if you ask for it. The people inside the Copilot right now, we opened up an accountability group because they were really craving accountability with other people, that they were really being seen in their journey, because they said, I really want this, but I haven't been able to get out of it on my own. And so I want to be seen in my commitment to my goal, because then people will hold me accountable. So ask yourself, where can I find the accountability for where I want to go for the rest of the year? And if you want that kind of accountability, well, I can also offer that to you. Hire me if you need to, because this is exactly what I also offer in my one-on-one coaching, in the Copilot, because the main core of these programs and my coaching is not about accountability, but that part is added in because I'm watching you. And I'm experiencing the same right now, because I hired a coach who's helping me with the process of writing my book. Not writing the book, I'm writing it myself. But she helped me really get clear on, okay, what is my structure? And she put really strict deadlines for my structure for my first 3 chapters. And she's providing feedback. And because I have agreed on those deadlines with her and I'm paying her money, for sure, I'm showing up and I'm writing, even when I'm sick. And I right now, as I said at the beginning of this episode, I have this concrete first chapter of my book. How amazing is that? That I would never have now if I hadn't hired her. Because then the book idea would still be like this kind of vague idea for one day. Or maybe I would tell myself, okay, let's get started. But then I wouldn't find the space and the time to actually start writing. Or maybe I would write a little bit here, a little bit there, but it wouldn't be coherent. And it wouldn't be channeled, all that energy, into something framed and concrete that is then leading up to something like a concrete result. Otherwise, the energy is just being scattered around. And so I love having that accountability. My clients love it too. I'm also very happy to provide it. So find yourself that accountability too in a way that works for you. All right. These were the 13 questions that I'm giving you to ask yourself this summer, to use the space of the summer really well and to be a little bit more intentional about where you're going towards the end of the year. Because if you're happy with your life, please, by all means, go ahead. But so many of us are not fully happy. I speak to so many expats who live a fantastic life on paper. On the outside, it looks amazing, and they do appreciate all those things. But on the inside, they feel quietly stuck, lost, or disconnected from themselves, from others, and they are not 100% in it, feeling good, feeling steady, feeling happy. And this is one way for you to really shift your time, your energy, your habits towards something that is going to give you the life that actually feels like yours, that you actually feel at home in no matter where you go. It creates this inner anchor for yourself as well. And if you like this kind of work, this is exactly what we do inside The Space. The Space is my 2-day do-it-yourself solo retreat that I designed exclusively for expats. It's 2 days, one reset, and it was originally designed for the end of the year, but I just reopened doors again for this summer because summer is, like I said, a similar kind of season that brings up these questions and energy as well. And in The Space, in day one, I'm giving you journal prompts like this one. I am giving you really powerful coaching exercises and some audios for you to do and to not just listen to them. I'm actually sending you out on walks as well to really get on a deeper level with yourself to look back. So the first part is all about creating the space, acknowledging, letting go, and clearing the space. Then day 2, similar tools, different exercises, but like in a similar structure, we then look forward about what it actually is that you want to call into your life and how you're going to make that happen. And I really love this retreat. One, because I do it myself every year. I've been doing it for 6 years. And last December, I thought, let me simultaneously record myself. I was in Sedona. And it really, you can do it anywhere. I just advise you to not do it at home because I do want you to get out of your environment. But you can do it at your own pace. If you want to spread it out over 4 days, that's totally fine too. This is something that I did last year. And these are ways that are helping you go beyond your rational thinking. So the things that you're going to come up with aren't New Year's resolutions that you're going to forget about in month 2. No, this is really like 3 goals that are so embedded within yourself and you feel so empowered and confident and excited about them that it doesn't feel like a chore, but it really feels like I'm stepping onto a new timeline. This is what I want for myself, and I feel really good about achieving that. So that's what you'll find in the retreat. Once you're in, you have forever access. So you can repeat this retreat as often as you like. You can do it every December, every July, August, every birthday. You could even do it like the most of it every December and then choose some parts of it in summer. That's something that I'm doing too. You can go back to it as often as you like because the materials are pre-recorded and you get immediate access to it and you keep that access. So it's just a one-time entry point in, one-time investment, and then you have forever access to all those materials. The investment for the space is 149 euros, which is nothing compared to a real retreat. You book the venue and I provide you with the structure and the materials. And what I'm adding this time, for just this one special time that doors are open mid-year, I'm adding in a live call at the end of August. So you can do the retreat whenever you want. Even if you haven't done the retreat, you're still very welcome to join in on the call. And what I'm going to be doing there is I'm going to give you some practical ways to implement whatever you came up with in the retreat into your daily life so that you can stay fully connected to it for the rest of the year. no matter how hard life is lifing. And this is also still really useful if you haven't done a retreat yet. So if you feel like, okay, Amanda, I want to do the retreat, but I have my holidays in October, you are very welcome at the call already, and you can join now so that you're not going to miss out on it closing doors again. So if you join now, you can still do your retreat in October and whenever you want to. And I'm not quite sure when I'm going to be opening doors again the next time. So if you have been thinking about the space and you are craving something similar for your next holiday, this really is your last chance to join. And I'd love to welcome you there and also see you on our live call in August. All right. Have a fantastic day wherever you are. Have a fantastic summer. I hope this season is full of insights and landings and realizations that really hit home for you, and that you can recharge your energy to come back to the busy season, September to December, when you return to your home base. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.